This is Jolie here for Seconds Out. Absolutely delighted to be joined by Joe Gallagher after a successful night for Paul Butler. Must be happy with that.
Yeah, no, definitely seeing Paul become a two-time world champion in front of his fans here in Liverpool. It's been a long journey to get Paul back to becoming a world champion, and obviously the disappointment in Dubai and the situation with Casemiro, and then him happening again, it would have broken some fighters. And full respect for Paul Butler to take on a calibre of opponent like Jonas Sultan at 48 hours. A lot of people would have just walked away from it, but Paul didn't. He took the fight, he took the opportunity, and he executed the game plan perfectly.
Yeah, full respect to Paul, but not so much Casemiro.
Yeah, Casemiro, listen, that I think that's him done now. He'll have to move up.
What do you make of the whole Probellum fight card? It's been a good show tonight.
Yeah, but I was there early at 5 o'clock watching them all. I was really impressed with Keynes. I was really impressed with Joe McGrail. There's some good kids coming through. So yeah, and Sam Maxwell's fight we watched on the television in the changing rooms. What a belting fight that was. Early contender for fight of the year. But yeah, no, there's lots of good talent. There was yeah, some good kids on tonight.
Obviously, back onto Paul. What can we expect for the rest of the year? You mentioned that it's going to be turned into a world title in the next 48 hours, hopefully. What can we expect with that defence? Do you have anyone in mind?
Well, no, Paul will have a voluntary defence. So there's talks at the moment now. The winner of Inoue and Donaire versus Paul Butler. The bantamweight division has never had an undisputed number one, and if Inoue beats Donaire, them two could fight each other, and all belts for the undisputed. So yeah, that's an option we're looking at. But the main thing now, Paul's 33 years of age. He's become world champion 2-time. I just want him to go away now and enjoy life as a world champion once again.
Yeah, 2 world champions in the gym this year, obviously with Tasha Jonas as well. Could have been 3 with Callum Johnson. What's the latest with him? How's he doing?
Callum's all right. He's back in the gym. Frank's got to give us a date next week for him, so I'm really pleased with that. So yeah, he's really good. I've got Callum Thompson out next week, and Mark Heffron. Obviously, that Frank won the purse bids for Mark Heffron versus I forgot his name. Lennox Clark for the British title. So yeah, the gym's buzzing again. 2 world champions in it, and that's the 4th world champion for Liverpool. So yeah, doing well.
Yeah, obviously with Anthony Yarde at light heavyweight as well. We know Frank likes Anthony Yarde. How would you react if he got that title shot, or to fight Joe Smith Jr. before Callum Johnson?
Yeah, listen, he's there in the rankings, and that's what it is. CJ's had his opportunity. It was a pity, obviously he got COVID 2 days before due fly out, but that's what it was. It was meant to be, it wasn't meant to be. But Anthony Yarde, I'm sure he'll acquit himself well against the winner of that fight between Joe Smith and Artur Beterbiev.
Tasha, do you want to join quickly? What's next for you is just one simple question, really. What's next for you? You can stay in. What's next, Tash?
For me, I would like to headline here. I think there's possibly a date for September floating around. And yeah, I want some of that, Echo Arena home advantage. And yeah, to just perform in front of a home crowd like Paul. Yeah,
obviously everyone wanted you to become a world champion before you had, but how does it feel to live as a world champion now finally?
Relief. I think, telling yourself and telling everybody else you're good enough without actually having the belt to prove it is hard, and to keep picking yourself up every time something didn't go right, but you stick with it and you work hard and you keep going, and Joe keeps moaning and we get it. So
yeah. And every sports person says it takes a while to sink in, but did it actually take a few weeks to kind of realise it's finally happened?
No, it was pretty instant, but it was just like I said, it was more like relief was the only word I can describe. It was like I've got it, and that now I can go back to enjoying my boxing. Joe,
it must have felt good for you two, obviously known each other for a while, like for her to win on that night. I know you were both really happy.
Yeah, obviously Natasha's been on some journey when she turned professional. Everybody wrote her off, and it was just great to see that no matter how many times we got knocked down, we got up and we carried on. And to see her, I mentioned it in the press conference afterwards, the 2 times she'd fought for world titles, Terry Harper and Katie Taylor. If she'd won one of them, especially Terry Harper, there was no one there to celebrate with her. So it was like it wasn't meant to be. So when she did win, it was chief support, 20,000, Kell Brook, Amir Khan, pay-per-view. So, and her family were there. So it was just a perfect situation. You couldn't have written it every better. So yeah, hugely proud of her, and she's enjoying life as a world champion. And yeah, fair play to him.
2 predictions from both of you before we go. Obviously, Fury Whyte tomorrow. Firstly, I'll start with you, Joe.
Tyson Fury, I'd say by round 9, but I think there'll be a few scares along the way. It's got to be an interesting fight, but I expect Tyson Fury. You've seen the weigh-in today, he came in heavier. Dillian came in a little bit heavier. But Dillian's a dangerous man. You see a very motivated, a bit like Paul Butler come out to eye the tiger today. I know it's corny, but Dillian Whyte has that, you've all written me off here, he's coming with that attitude. It wasn't the Dillian that fought Povetkin first time, and I think he's got a lot more belief than when he did fought AJ first time. So, but I'm going with Tyson Fury.
How about that Dillian Whyte left hook?
Yeah, it's dangerous. Like, I think, anyone, they say about the heavyweights, more than most, but anyone hits anyone clean on the chin, it can be lights out, and it's dangerous. I don't see, if Wilder can't knock you out, I just don't see anybody else being able to do it. I'm not as confident as Joe for the stoppage for Tyson, but I do think, how he wins depends on the Tyson Fury, and depends when he wants to and how he wants to. I just can't see Dillian win, but I never get it right. So.
And Taylor Serrano, makes sense to start with you.
Listen, there isn't a person out there that a style, tall, little, fast, slow, aggressive, back foot that Katie hasn't fought. Saying that. You look at amateur history and people that she's, hasn't been as successful with, Gulsum Tartar, Sophia Ochagava, and I've close calls with myself, and we're all southpaws. You look at, can you draw Katie into a fight? You look at the Pursuit one, yet you can. And Serrano is a southpaw. She's aggressive. She's going to come forward. She's not a Pursuit fighting in New York. She's an American fighting in New York that they prefer that aggressive style. She's probably the home fighter. But yeah, I just think she's all wrong for Katie.
No, I think Katie wins. I think Serrano fought in the smaller divisions, coming through. Katie's been at lightweight. She's comfortable being on the big stage. Done it all, and I did see when Natasha's going to fight her, she was just going over the hill, and you've seen that in a recent performance, but there's always one big fight still in her, and this is the fight that it's got to be. She was under huge pressure, but I think Katie Taylor's too good, and I just expect Katie Taylor to win this.
Thank you both for your time. Hopefully we'll see you in Liverpool soon, Tash.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks.
Thank you guys.